So in essence, when two or more are gathered together and they're in a spirit of perfect harmony, there is a promise that the Spirit of God will come in and grant wisdom and insight and inspiration that would not be accessible otherwise.
This sounds cheesy, but I almost need like a big fish alert, like a bing, bing. Look, I've got Cliff Ravenscraft on. This dude is a rock star. He's spoken from all the big stages he's had. He's worked with people like Pat Flynn, John Lee Dumas, Amy Porterfield. Not only has he had, I think, 51 different podcast shows of his own, and he's a podcast expert, but he does a ton of work teaching us how to change our belief systems and mindsets. This is going to be a good one. Do more by doing less. With me, Charles Alexander, for small business owners, startups, and busy folks. By the way, Cliff, where are you today?
On the planet Earth.
I've been there occasionally.
I am in northern Kentucky, just outside of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Love it. It's I've been through there a few times. Me and a buddy of mine, I'll never forget when he was 15 and I was 16. We decided we were going to drive up to Cincinnati to Kings Island.
Oh,
and we ended up staying.
Kings Island.
Oh my gosh! Well, it was a dream come true for us as kids. We wanted to ride the wooden roller coaster. And our parents, I guess it was a different time and age, they let us load up in the Ford Tempo. He's 15. He drives. He got a permit, I guess. I don't even remember. We just follow a map, not MapQuest, not GPS, a map of how to get to his uncle's house. And we somehow lived and survived. And at this point in time, I'm scared to even let my kids go check the mailbox.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys had that experience at Kings Island. I have lots of fond memories of Kings Island. It's only a 45-minute drive from here. So I've not only been multiple times throughout my lifetime as a child, I have had several years as an adult with season pass just for myself to go walking around just because it's fun.
Just Cliff wandering around aimlessly, man.
Well, listening to audiobooks, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, tell us
I don't do anything aimlessly.
It's always purposeful. Well, tell us a little bit then. Your backstory is very interesting, and it gets started not that long ago from where you were in insurance to where you are now. So give us the Cliff's Notes version of Cliff's backstory and kind of catch us up.
Well, given the fact that you want to go for 20 to 30 minutes, I'm going to make this as quick as possible. I've always had a desire to be in ministry and service to others since I was a kid. I thought that my biggest passion and dream would be one day I'd be a pastor of my own church. Fast forward to after I got married in 1996, my family asked me to come work in the family business insurance agency owned by my mom and dad, started by my grandfather in 1937. I swore to them I would never get my insurance license, as I will come and set up your computer stuff. And if I'm ever offered the opportunity to become a pastor, you have to be cool with that, no matter how much less I might make as a result. Fast forward a couple years, I realized that insurance was an opportunity to do greater ministry than what I could do within the institution of the church. So I saw that as my greatest ministry in the world until December 2005, about a decade, actually closer to 11 years after I've joined the family business. I started podcasting as a hobby with my wife. And by the third podcast episode, we had 27,000 subscribers. And that quickly grew over the next year to over 150,000 subscribers around the world. And I recognized my greatest ministry opportunity is to be of entertainment, education, encouragement, and inspiration to people in the hundreds of thousands around the world. So it took about 18 months for me to get over the guilt and shame of having such a dream. But eventually I left the lifetime of employment to become full-time self-employed in January 2008. I had all sorts of mindset issues about money and what it means to bring value and how you earn. And as a result of that, I only made $11,000 net income my first year in business. But since then, that launched me. Oh, by the way, I celebrated my first year in the hospital where I almost died. And after coming out of that, that set me on a personal and professional self-help development journey that caused me to double and triple my income from year after year. Since then, I've generated millions of dollars in sales and helped more than 40,000 people launch a podcast in the world. I personally have 51 podcast shows, over 4,700 podcast episodes. And I today help people break free from mental blocks that keep them from creating the life of their dreams.
Wow. That's a lot in a short period of time. I can tell you've had to do it before, and I sincerely appreciate it. Be nosy. How did you almost die?
Oh, so basically, lots of stress, working 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, for the first 9 months without a single day off, having more anxiety, fear, doubt. Am I going to be able to put food on the table? How am I, how am I going to do this? Where's my next client coming from? And finally taking 1 day a week off, but only by agreeing for myself that I'd
Right.
work more hours on the other 6 days of the week. And so doing that, I had completely wrecked all of my immune system, and there was all sorts of crazy stuff happening in my body. One of which was massive amounts of gallstones, one which was stuck in my cystic duct. And the one doctor came in and said, listen, you've got to get this thing out. We need to take your gallbladder out, but you've got this one stone in your cystic duct. If we take it out, the chances of death are about 50-50.
Oh, gosh.
So it's pretty high. If we
Yeah,
leave
that's high.
If we leave the stone in the cystic duct and we remove your gallbladder, which your gallbladder is coming out, but if that stone falls, it's a guaranteed death. It's instant death. And I'm like, okay, well, I either have a guaranteed death or a 50-50 chance. Let's go with the 50-50 chance.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, you're a good gambler.
Yeah. So later that night, they come in and bring me the forms to fill out, and it says here, you're scheduled to have your gallbladder taken out in the morning. I said, no, sir, I'm actually scheduled to have my cystic duct. This which endoscopy, they're going to go down and take this thing out. That's not what we have here. I said, well, that's what I opted for.
Yeah.
I opted for
I'm 50-50. I'm at the craps table.
Yeah, I want the 50-50 option. And they said, just go ahead and sign this. We'll get it all worked out in the morning. I said, if it's okay with you, I'll just wait until the morning. You bring the doctor in, get the paperwork filled out, show me the paperwork that says I'm getting the right operation. Then I'll be signing that. And so in my way, that's how, through bureaucracy and some messed up things. And it's like, yeah, no, I'm okay. I'll wait.
I got you.
That, in my way of thinking, that's me almost dying in the hospital. And I spent 2 weeks there. And after I came out of both of the operations, I did have the thing removed. And hey, spoiler alert, I did not die.
I almost asked.
Yeah, I made it through.
Make it?
I made it through. But boy, did that set me off on it's like some things has got to change.
So let's move into that. And this is what you help people do now. Let's first take a quick peek at the podcast. You had 51 different shows at some point. How many do you currently have?
I produce about 8 podcast episodes at least a month, but sometimes as many as 8 a week.
But you have more than one show.
Yeah, I have 51 shows. 8 of them are in current production.
Gotcha. That's where I was getting to. And that's, I'm a podcast newbie as compared to a lot of folks. So when I'm thinking of podcasts, there's 1 million podcasts, and probably 10 to 20% of them are currently active. It doesn't mean anything that the old and that's one of the big discussion points I've had with a lot of my clients over the years. You want to learn how to do more by doing less, love doing podcasts. It gives you all types of ways to leverage just a ton of stuff, but people get concerned. What if I want to quit one day? Well, you quit one day and you do a different one. It's, it's almost, go ahead.
I have a podcast I did. It was called the Virtual Assistant Podcast. You can find it at virtualassistantpodcast.com. I think there are 38 episodes. I have not produced an episode of that show. I think it was 2010, maybe. You could look, but it's been more than a decade since I produced an episode. Today, that show gets about 100 to 500 new subscribers every single month.
Wow.
And 30% of those people listen to all 38 episodes, all of whom had never heard the name Cliff Ravenscraft before. But those 30%, after hearing 38 episodes of me giving value, then continue to follow me in my other platforms that are existent still a decade later. They sign up for my mailing list. They are listening to my content today. They've come to know, like, and trust me. And that podcast that I stopped more than a decade is responsible for at least $200,000 a year of income today, each year.
And today, the the podcasts are, that's still a big primary thing what you're doing, but you're a business coach, you're a mentor, you're a speaker. How are you leveraging? And I think you just explained it to us, but not you. How do people go about leveraging these podcasts? Producing them and getting them out there is one thing. What's a couple of smart things they should be doing with these podcasts in order to build up their coaching practice or advising or their entrepreneurial endeavors?
So the first thing that I would say is I don't think there's anything you should do. There's only things that you could do. There's a lot that could be done, but I would encourage anyone who's thinking about a podcast, just think about what it is you want that podcast to do. What's the end result? What is the end desire that you hope to accomplish with it? Get very clear about that, and then either by yourself or work with somebody who has a lot of experience in this area. Ask, what are the things that could be done to get those results? So I'll give you a perfect example. I wanted to generate some new clients for my paid mastermind group, the Next Level Mastermind. And so I went and I'm like, man, I could continue to do all of the things and try to reach all the people that are already on my list. And I've been doing that, and I will continue to do that. And that continues to bring trickled in success. However, what I did, if you go to upgradeyourpeergroup.com, it'll lead you to a podcast called Upgrade Your Peer Group, The Power of Mastermind Groups.
Right.
Now, this is only 6 podcast episodes. It was very intentional. I never intended to put more than 6 podcast episodes in. I don't know that I will ever put a 7th podcast episode in that feed. So I did this about 2.5 years ago, or however, you can go see when it was, but it's been well over a year. And the reason I know this is because it's already generated more than $48,000 in revenue. I did nothing to promote it, by the way. I may have mentioned, hey guys, I launched another podcast and it's over here. And I did that once in a few of my other shows. I may have sent one email to my list, but since then I've done nothing to promote this. But people are finding that show today because they're searching for podcasts about mastermind groups. And so they find it, they listen to those 6 episodes. All of them tell you who I am, tell you that, hey, if you're a full-time self-employed business owner and you want to be in a curated mastermind group and with somebody who's been doing this successfully for more than 30 years, I would love for you to check out and apply for the Next Level Mastermind. It led to 4 people instantly within 90 days of launching that show. 4 people paid me $15,000 and 2 of them renewed for a second year. So and that show consistently is going to get new people listening to it. I'll never have to publish another episode. And if I wanted to, I could at any point go and turn on some advertising and create a sales funnel for it and all that other stuff. It's just like, if I need more cash, if I need more flow of new clients, I have those options available. Those are things I could do to leverage it.
If you need to renew Kings Island's annual membership, that we just throw an ad in there and off we go.
Yeah.
So that leads me into, so the big thing that, that I've read, talked to others about, you're great at masterminds. You're great at helping people with their belief system. So what is, and I'm a big fan too, what's a big deal about being in a mastermind versus just doing something one-on-one or trying to do it on your own?
Yeah. So Ecclesiastes 4:9-12 says 2 are better than 1 because they have a greater return for their work. And it says, pity the one who falls down on his own and has no one to help him. While 2 can get up and they're stronger, a cord of 3 strand is not easily broken. So with more people, there's more resistance and resiliency to the obstacles and the difficulties and the circumstances that are undesirable and inconvenient and unexpected in life that you can get through them. The other thing is in the Bible, it talks about the fact that wherever 2 or more are gathered in my name, if they agree upon any one thing, it will be granted for them. And I will be in their midst. So in essence, when 2 or more are gathered together and they're in a spirit of perfect harmony, there is a promise that the Spirit of God will come in and grant wisdom and insight and inspiration that would not be accessible otherwise. Not to mention the fact that each person that enters into such a mastermind alliance or relationship, they all have their own levels of education, They have all their own experience. They have their own areas of expertise, all of their skills, all of their talents, all of their abilities, all of their resources, and all of their influence. And when you bring a group of people who are working together in a spirit of harmony, where they're all willing to share that for the success of every other member in the group, there's something that there's things that could be accomplished in an environment like that that could never be accomplished on your own or with just one or two people, although the mastermind principle does start with two people or more.
That's something I've had to learn over the years. I do a lot of one-on-one coaching. I've done group coaching. I've been in group coaching. I've received one-on-one, and all of it can be effective. But I've always found that when I'm in a group or facilitating a group, the changes always seem to happen more rapidly. The questions that other people have help the ones who aren't asking. Seeing someone else achieve what you wanted to achieve with even more obstacles in their way motivates you. It just, and that's, you know, I've got launching a mastermind on a 4-day work week just for that concept. People want a shorter work week. I'm trying to help them do it one-on-one. They can come back and give me all the excuses in the world, but if they're in a group of other people, those excuses, they tend to melt away, or you see the power of what they're doing and get pushed to do it yourself. So in looking at that, a lot of the work you do, the work you help people do in your mastermind or in others, or even in the podcast, is a lot about, looks like mindset, or more importantly, beliefs. So one of the very first things that I always see people have issues with is they've got a gap almost of where they want to be versus kind of where they are. What do you tell them to help kind of teach them through that process?
So through what process? To bridge the gap of where they want to
That's
be
right.
and where they are?
Yes, sir.
So for me, that all comes down to beliefs, because our beliefs determine what we think, and what we think determines how we feel, and how we're thinking and feeling determines what actions we will or will not take, and the actions that we do or don't take give us the results that we have in our life. So if there is a result or something they want to experience in life that they are not experiencing, then the only reason they are not getting that result is because of the actions that are or are not being taken. That is the only, it is an A equals R relationship. That formula could not be more simple. All right. Your actions are not in equivalence with what your desired result is. So the only way to get to your desired result is for you to change your actions. That is impossible if you don't change how you think and feel about those actions.
So how do you,
you cannot change how you think and how you feel about those actions unless you become consciously aware of the beliefs that you hold in your subconscious mind that is actually producing those thoughts or attracting those thoughts to you, and of course then producing the emotional states within your body. So in essence, how I do this is I help people understand that every belief you have has a consequence, and that the problem is that you're unaware of about 95% or more of your beliefs. You may think, oh, I do believe this is possible. I definitely want this, and I think that I can achieve it. But you're quite unaware of the fact that you still feel like if I actually succeed financially and become completely wealthy, that somehow I'm not worthy, or somehow that for me to do that, it means that I'm greedy, and the more that I have, the less that others have available to them. There's all sorts of these unconscious beliefs that are causing you to think and feel about the actions that it would take for you to become incredibly wealthy, if incredibly wealthy was one of your desired results. So, and your question is, okay, how do I help bridge the gap? And so the first thing I do is I help people understand the importance of your belief system. And then what I do is I help them understand how to discover those unconscious beliefs. And here's a series of questions. Anybody watching, anybody listening today can write down these questions. What is something that I want in life that I'm not currently experiencing? Just write that question down and journal about it later. The second question, what do I know already that I need to do, that if I did this thing, I would get closer to that reality. All right. The third question, and I'm probably going to stop numbering them after 3 because I'm going to lose count. The third question, what do I already know that I need to put an end to, that I need to stop doing that would get me closer to that reality? And then the fourth question, I'm keeping on track here.
That's good.
The fourth question is, why haven't I already started doing the thing or things that I need to do? That is going to give you a whole bullet point list of excuses.
Right.
All right. And then the fifth question and final question here is, why haven't I already put an end to this thing or these things that I know I need to put an end to? And you're going to get a whole bullet point list of excuses. And guess what excuses are? It's a pretty fancy name for a belief.
Gotcha. So recapping, what is something that I want to do in life that I'm not currently doing or don't currently have? Let's say people listening here, let's say they want, more time for themselves. And that's obviously why a lot of people are tuning in. They want whatever it is, a 4-day work week, more time with my friends, family, whoever. Well, and the second question, I don't think I wrote it all down. What do I need to do in order to be able?
What do I already know that I could do that would get me closer to that?
So in that case, they would say, what do I already know? I know that I need to spend less time maybe in emails or meetings or
no. That you're going straight into the things I need to stop doing.
Yeah.
What are the things that I need to do? I should probably charge 3 times as much and work with only 1/3 the number of clients.
Great. Good deal. So then what do I need to put an end to that I'm currently doing?
Right. And that is serving lots of people without any real good track record of knowing exactly what it takes to turn these people into paying clients.
Okay. Serving entirely too many people, doing too many things that don't reach the end goal, saying yes to too many things, and probably having too many clients that aren't high enough ticket clients, so to speak. So what haven't I started that I should start to reach that point? And then that's where I jump in with probably excuses. Well, I don't have time, or I don't know.
The actual question, just so because I want to make sure people understand that the question is why haven't I already started charging 3 times the amount and working with 1/3 the number of clients? If I knew for a fact that if I charged 3 times my current rate and worked only with 1/3 the number of clients that I currently have, that would I know for a fact I'd free up 2/3 of my time, and I would generate the exact same amount of income. Imagine that. I am actually earning the same amount in 1/3 the amount of time. I already know that if I tripled my rates and chose intentionally to work with only 1/3 of the number of clients that I'm currently working with. Now I'm talking to somebody who typically is doing like one-on-one coaching. So there's a lot of hypotheticals here. But in this scenario, now the question is, why am I not choosing to charge 3 times whatever my current rate is? So if my current rate is $100 an hour, why have I not already started charging $300 an hour?
So from there, when they start giving answers that are excuses, will uncover.
So I'm going to give you real life examples.
Do it.
Hey, Cliff, I got to tell you, you don't understand my industry. I've already researched. I have priced this thing out. This is the going rate. In my industry, people will not pay more than this.
Sure.
And boy, that is an excuse. And it's nothing more than a belief. And by the way, no belief is absolute truth. A belief is nothing more, get this, and you might want to write this down. A belief is nothing more than a thought that you feel certain is true. That's it. There's some feeling of certainty about what your thought is being true. Another way of saying what a belief is nothing more than a habit a thought. But here's what I will tell you. It is an excuse, but it is a belief. A belief is my industry, my target audience will not pay that rate. That is a belief. And if you continue to argue for that belief, you will always have the limitation that you're currently experiencing.
A belief is a thought you feel certain to be true.
Yep.
And a lot of those are ingrained. So in this particular case, whatever it is, so we've got coaches that are listening, or financial advisors that may want to move to a fee-only process, or insurance agents that want to work with high net worth clients, or whoever entrepreneur is out there. You're saying, and this is just this example, but probably is a lot of the things that you get to deal with, is teaching people how do you charge more. So their long-held beliefs or excuses are going to be, well, people won't pay that, or I'm not providing enough value for that, or
I don't have enough experience.
Right. So
there are so many other people who have way much more to offer. Why would they hire me? And from there, and I assume this is in your mastermind or just part of your speaking or is your mentorship, that's where you start helping people break down those beliefs. Now, is that, once you get to that point, are we just trying to dispel them one at a time? Or are we trying to create a new belief system? What's the I know there's not a shortcut, but what is the shortcut with the time that we've got? There is a shortcut. It's a very simple 4-step process. So number one, you have to become aware, consciously aware of what your limiting beliefs are. All right. And that's why I gave you that series of 5 questions to uncover your excuses, AKA your unconscious up to that point beliefs. We've now made you consciously aware of them. All right. That's step number 1. Step number 2 might be valuable. It's not always the case, but I find it incredibly enlightening to go in search of the source of that belief. Why do I believe that's true? Where did I first hear that? When did I first accept that as truth? All right. And then the question is there evidence? Of course, the third step number 3 is to disassociate from that belief, saying, listen, I know that I once agreed with this. I know I've lived most of my entire life up to this point believing this to be true with great conviction and lots of evidence that I have found to support it, because my brain is really good at distorting, deleting, and generalizing all of the myriad of content that's coming in. And my subconscious mind is helping me stay true and remain in alignment with what I believe to be true. And so it's caused me to collect all sorts of data and evidence to support my belief and delete cognitive bias. So now with an understanding of that, what can I do to disassociate, to break free from that belief? And the first thing for me to do is there evidence to support the opposite? Is there evidence that that's not true? Is there evidence to show that their alternative beliefs are an option here and that there's plenty of evidence to support that? And so once we can disassociate, and that disassociate meaning like disidentify with it, like I am fill in the blank. I am the guy who helps these people. You know, I am the guy who shows up and serves, and it's not about money, and money's not all that. It's not the most important thing, and all this other stuff. And you have to, it's like, wait a second, that is not me. Those are all a series of beliefs, a system of beliefs that I've adopted over time. And I'm now writing a Dear John. Hey, we're breaking up. Wait, sorry, we're done. You're no longer going to be a part of my life. And so the only way to do that is to disassociate, and you move to step number 4. Step number 4 is to condition an alternative empowering belief. Adopt a new belief that's in opposition to the original belief, and make sure that you set your mind's subconscious ability of distorting, deleting, and generalizing, and collecting evidence in support of your new belief.
Wow. Becoming aware of the excuses, finding the sources of those beliefs, which probably gets into some childhood tampering. I've got zero doubt. I've got 3 kids at home, and I'm constantly worried about whatever beliefs I'm unfortunately ingraining into them. Finding a way.
They always talk about save for your kids' college, save for their therapy as well.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. If they don't make it to college, I got some 529s for them, man. Find a way to disassociate from those beliefs. Find evidence of the opposite to be true. Write it a Dear John letter and get rid of it. And then condition your new beliefs, the empowering beliefs that are basically the opposite of the ones we just
and let me share with you a couple of things about conditioning new beliefs. One, you could look into affirmations. Affirmations will do absolutely nothing for you unless you already are convinced that your new belief is true.
So don't do the affirmations trying to make myself think that.
Right. Don't use an affirmation trying to convince yourself that the new belief is true. You have to do the work to find a feeling of certainty that the new belief is true. And then affirmations are incredible for reinforcing and conditioning that belief, driving the grooves deeper into your subconscious programming. However, here are some additional ways that you can condition new beliefs. Surround yourself with people who already live their lives according to the new belief, that demonstrate to you day in, day out, week after week, that this belief is actually true and is demonstrated in their way of life. There's this saying that the quality of your life will be the direct result of the expectations of your peer group. And when I went from being an employee to full-time self-employed business owner, there were challenges that I faced as a business owner that I had never faced as an employee. And I had a number of advisors, and most of them were employees. And so when I was really struggling to put food on the table during that first year and all this other stuff, I had reached out to my group of advisors. I was using Google groups at the time, Google email groups, and it went out to everyone. And I said, guys, things are so bad. It's been suggested to me that I sign up for food stamps to make sure that food still continues to show up on the table for my family. And I have so much guilt and shame about this. And I think it's the worst thing in the world to even consider, and all this other stuff. But I figured I'd run it by you guys for discernment and see if there's any alternative views other than the guilt and shame that I'm experiencing. The very first person who responded said, "That's it, Cliff. I have supported you. I've encouraged you. I have been behind you, been your greatest cheerleader, but now I can no longer support you." You're absolutely right. There's a good reason why you feel so much guilt and shame, because it is the wrong thing. You need to give up this, go back and get your day job. And this is the way. And you know what? It's time for you to stop trying to turn your hobby into something that is never going to be what it is. Go back and live the responsible life.
Join the real world with the rest of us.
And so he said that. Now he confirmed all of my beliefs at the time. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, sure. Okay. Dad, take me back in the agency, please. So, but no, immediately after that, every subsequent person who responded said, first, remove that guy. And they used more colorful language. Remove that guy from this list. Don't ever seek his advice ever again. And then they all said, Cliff, go sign up for food stamps. And let me tell you that we all believe in you. You're definitely going to succeed. There will be a day where you will pay more in a single paycheck's worth of taxes. In a single paycheck, you will pay more in taxes than you will ever draw from the government to help you in this season of life. Wow. And that has since been true. So, this is what it means. So if I only surround myself with people who thought the way that I did and who are in alignment with my beliefs that government assistance and all this other stuff is irresponsible, and all of the stuff that comes with that, then I would have gone back and I would have climbed. It's kind of like is it the crab analogy that you're climbing out and they pull you back down? Yeah. It's like and this is why it's called upgrade your peer group over at upgradeyourpeergroup.com. If you upgrade your peer group to people who think about things in a different way than your conditioned beliefs, you begin to see a different way of experiencing life, and their beliefs can show, and you could see their beliefs, but not only see their beliefs, but see the results of their beliefs. And you begin to see evidence to support that their way of seeing the world, although different than what you've always believed to be true yourself, there's plenty of evidence to now support that my belief was a limiting, untrue belief, and that belief is a more empowering, alternative belief that would get me more of the results I desire in life. So spend more time with those people.
Cliff, I wish we had a whole other 30 or 40 minutes or 2 days, and maybe we need to have you back on if you'd be willing. Man, that's a lot of good information in a short period of time. That's an incredible backstory. Great use of podcasts still to this day, but the most important takeaways are just figuring out where we want to be versus where we are now, identifying those beliefs, what to do about them, how to overcome them, how to change them, how to find other people that believe what you believe, and then to stick with them. What do you have coming up, or what is it? What's something that the people listening or watching, what do they need to get from you next?
Well, I did a annual conference called Free the Dream, where people from all over the world came and I taught them the basics of beliefs and how to completely change your beliefs and to create change in your life that lasts a lifetime. It's called the Free the Dream Conference. However, after COVID, I decided to stop offering that. However, I did have a television crew who professionally video recorded the entire thing, multiple camera angles. If you would like, you can get for free my first 1 hour talk. It's called All Beliefs Have Consequences. It in and of itself, if you see no other video, my opening keynote address to the Free the Dream conference is available for free at mindsetanswerman.com/free. It will help you radically shift what you see as possible in your life, and it will give you practical steps and tools on how to move towards that. And then I think currently the actual full course is only $197. So if you want, you could watch the entire series of talks that I gave at Free the Dream Conference. It's over at freethedreamcourse.com. But don't even concern yourself about the course. Just go watch the free video. It's at mindsetanswerman.com/free.
Good deal. Cliff, bud, thank you so much for coming on, hanging out with us here today. I learned a lot, took a lot of notes of myself. And you have a great rest of the day there in Northern Kentucky.
Thank you very much.
Don't take off just yet. I've created a new program just for you, helping overworked entrepreneurs create their very own 4-day work week in 90 days or less. Look, if you'd rather spend more time with family, friends, traveling, exercising, having the time to do what you want instead of, I don't know, putting out never-ending fires, tackling another to-do list, and checking email at 9 p.m., then go to my website, yourcharlesalexander.com. If you've created the income you want but don't have the time freedom you deserve, then this is for you. And as always, if you don't, an angel may actually lose its wings. True story. Have a great day.